So thank you so much for being here with us. We are having a candidate forum tonight featuring the contest to represent District 1 on the Marin County Board of Supervisors. I'm Ann Wakely, and I'm going to get us started. First, I'm pleased to tell you that you have the option of hearing this forum in Spanish or in English. Our Spanish language interpreter, Berta Campos, is going to tell you how you can access Spanish.
Hola, bienvenidos al foro de esta noche que presenta a los candidatos que se postulan para la Junta de Supervisores del Distrito número 1. Este foro se presenta en inglés con interpretación simultánea en español. Si desea escuchar el foro en español, haga clic en el icono del globo de interpretación en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Si no la ve inmediatamente, busque los tres puntitos en la parte derecha de la parte de abajo de su pantalla y presione ahí y luego verá el globito como y donde dice interpretación. Entonces, después de que haga clic ahí, por favor, si está en un dispositivo inteligente o celular, las mismas instrucciones aplican. Luego seleccione español. Y finalmente, todos por favor pongan en silencio el audio original. Esta opción la puede encontrar en el mismo menú del icono del globo. Haga clic en silenciar el audio original para poder escuchar solo español y no confundirse con las dos voces al mismo tiempo y tener el eco del inglés. Así que muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Berta. So bear with us for a moment while we start the language interpretation. All right. I want to remind you also that you have the option to use closed captioning. The option to select that is usually at the bottom of your screen. If you don't see it, go to the circle with the three dots. It says More, and if you click on that, it should give you the option to select closed captioning. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Diana Lopez from the Marin Center for Independent Living, who is one of our host partners for this evening. Diana?
Thank you very much, Anne. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the District 1 Board of Supervisors Candidate Forum. My name is Diana Lopez. I represent District 1 on the Marin County Commission on Aging. I'm on the Board of Directors at Canal Alliance and serve as the CalAIM Program Manager at the Marin Center for Independent Living. I'm honored to introduce this evening's program and would like to thank the League of Women Voters of Marin County for organizing and moderating this event. We're delighted to co-host this forum along with the League of Women Voters, Canal Alliance, and the Marin Women's Commission as one way to be sure that voters have every opportunity to make an informed decision on this important role in our county. And now, I'm pleased to turn the mic over to this evening's moderator, League of Women Voters member, Lori Nardone. Lori, thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I'm going to be just a teeny bit repetitive, but bear with me. Good evening to everyone, and welcome to the Candidate Forum presented by the League of Women Voters of Marin County and Canal Alliance, Marin Center for Independent Living, and Marin Women's Commission. I am Lori Nardone, your moderator this evening, and with me are League members Jackie Garcia, our timekeeper, who might look like a clock, and Didi Butori, our behind-the-scenes Zoom support leader. The technical support team at Community Media Center of Marin, also known as CMCM, is here, and our Spanish language interpreter, Berta Campos. The League is a trusted, nonpartisan membership organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. We promote voter education and we advocate for issues. We never endorse or oppose candidates or political parties. Moderating candidate forums is an important part of our work. Tonight, we will hear from the two candidates running to represent District 1 on the Marin County Board of Supervisors. The board is Marin County's governing body. It passes county ordinances and sets priorities for county funds, services, and property based on the needs of Marin residents. District 1 includes the majority of the city of San Rafael and unincorporated communities Lucas Valley, Marinwood, and Santa Venetia. This evening's forum is being simulcast on Marin TV Channel 30, facilitated through our partnership with CMCM. It is being recorded and will be available through our website at marinlwv.org. It will be rebroadcast on Marin TV Channel 30, and days and times will be posted on our website. There are two candidates running for the Board of Supervisors District 1 seat, Mark Elperin and Mary Sackett. The candidates have agreed to the guidelines and time limits for this forum. Each candidate is invited to make a 2-minute opening statement, and after that, they will each have 90 seconds to answer each question. And to be fair, I will rotate the order. So we're going to start with opening statements, and we'll begin with Mark. And if you could unmute yourself, that'd be great.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for your time attending this meeting. As you know, my name is Mark Delpere. I live in Marin for 31 years. I grown 3 boys here in Marin. The household of our family is my wife. It's very important for you to know as a women organization. Until I retired a couple of years ago, now 3 years ago almost, I simply didn't have time to be involved in politics. Also, I saw many problems in local policies, in local issues of mainly housing, childcare, and emergency preparedness, which we are lacking, I believe. And 3 years ago, I started working at the Resident Advisory Board of Marin Housing Authority, trying to coordinate our efforts with Board of Supervisors and try to facilitate and to address the needs of our low-income residents who live in Marin. And if elected, I will.
Sorry.
If elected,
Thank you.
I will do that.
Thank you. Okay, and then Mary, could you unmute yourself? Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Mary Sackett. I want to thank the League, Canal Alliance, Marin Center for Independent Living, and the Marin Women's Commission for hosting tonight's forum. I really appreciate this opportunity and your support of the democratic process. I've lived in Marin for over 20 years, and I came here as a young attorney. Practiced law in Southern Marin for 13 years before coming to work for the county. It's been my pleasure to serve as the District 1 supervisor, and for 3.5 years now. And I'm really proud of a lot of work that we've done. We've created a number of different opportunities for people who need supportive housing, from Casa Canal opening to just last week opening the Rising Recovery Center for folks who are experiencing both mental health and substance abuse issues. I'm also really proud of a number of affordable housing projects that we've helped move forward by putting in county housing trust fund dollars to make them more competitive in the state low-income housing tax credit arena, and that's a couple of those options or opportunities that we've engaged in is Marin Wood Plaza, which we hope will break ground in the next couple months to create 125 units of affordable housing. The Oak Hill project is also moving forward. And then we've engaged in a couple of preservation projects, two with Canal Alliance, or two with Marin Foster Care and one with Canal Alliance. I would welcome the opportunity to have another term to continue to moving forward on climate related issues, on homelessness related issues, and our bicycle and pedestrian pathways to continue to have a vibrant economy and community. Thank you.
Thank you. Great opening remarks, and we have lots of questions that's going to focus on everything you've just talked about. So we'll start with, starting with the questions, we'll start with Mary first. And our first question for tonight is, how would you assess the county's financial health, and how should the county address the federal cuts to county services, particularly health and human services? And Mark, I'm going to ask you to mute while you're not speaking. Thank you. You need me to repeat any of that, Mary?
I got it.
Okay.
So thank you very much for that question. We are lucky in Marin County to have healthy financial picture. Through, frankly, the great work of Matthew Heimel, who was the county administrator, there was a lot of reserves, including a 3-year glide path for both state and federal funding. All that being said, with the passage of H.R. 1, we are facing really drastic cuts, in particular in health and human resources. So we have been working on this for the last 18 months or more in order to look at where can we combine programs? Where can we look at programs that we can leverage our dollars differently? How can we reassess staffing levels? And we don't have all the answers to this, in part because we don't yet know what the state budget is going to look like and what the state is going to backfill. But what I do know is that the county cannot backfill all of the federal budget cuts. And one of the things I'm most concerned about, frankly, is the federal cuts to the housing vouchers. So we've spent a lot of energy and initiative in getting folks off the street with housing vouchers, and we know that some of those housing vouchers are going to come to an end. And the same with food assistance and the need for recertification on a 6-month basis versus the prior 12-month basis. So we have some pretty tough conversations ahead.
Thank you. And Mark, and if you need me to repeat the question, just let me know. Could you answer that same question? And you can unmute yourself. Great.
I know current budget of the county. It's, as you might know, over $802,000. And I believe that it's insufficient for the county, and I have several proposals how to increase our budget, not through increasing tax collection, but using county resources, existing county resources, which could be source of income and had not been used. This is one of the major tasks I see as a supervisor if elected. If you want me to go deeper in this, please let me know. I'm done for now.
Okay, thank you very much. You can leave your microphone on because you have the next question first, Mark. This one is, what action should the Board of Supervisors take to ensure that our neighbors impacted by ICE arrests and detentions are supported and have access to essential resources?
Please repeat the beginning of the question.
The beginning is, what action should the Board of Supervisors take to ensure that our neighbors who are impacted by ICE arrests and detentions are supported and have access to essential resources?
When you say impacted, I want to understand what you're talking about. I know statistics. We have just 9 arrests during last 4 weeks. We have, I believe, 30 arrests during the year. And half a year, I don't remember the last figure exactly. In other words, I don't think that it is impacted neighbors. It's impacted those people who have been arrested. And if they need legal protection, I think that's what county could help them with. I don't think that any resistance to ICE is useful because it's illegal. Resistance, I mean physical resistance, prevention action. But of course, if ICE breach the border of their duties, this is their right and due to act and complain about this if it's happened. But mostly we need to help those who are affected by ICE. And my call is to treat our neighbors as ourselves. This is it. Thank you.
Thank you. If you can mute yourself, that'd be great. And Mary, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. So the board in 2025 allocated $500,000 to be used as needed for immigration response as the situation is constantly evolving and changing, and there's a lot of fear and there's different realities on the ground in Marin County than there are in some of the places where there's been some real action, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, etc. So we're trying to be prepared and not reactionary. We allocated another $500,000 out of the budget just in March. And we've also really looked at how do we prepare and work with our community-based partners. So this morning I had the opportunity to engage in a tabletop exercise with our community-based organizations, law enforcement, schools, to really talk about who would respond and in what situation and how. Some of the things we are also doing at the county is looking at how would we distribute food, and we had an opportunity to test some of those things when the federal government was cutting back on food stamps. We've also added to our public defender's office to have immigration attorneys and to ensure that there's funding for immigration attorneys in our schools in partnership with Marin County Office of Education. And we're trying to remain nimble to be able to respond when, if and when something happens, but also to not incite fear when we don't need to.
Thank you. Okay, we will stay with you, Mary, for the next question. It's a long question. While the Bay Area population continues to rise, Marin is losing people. A significant number of those losses are concentrated among prime working age adults who invariably cite the high cost of housing as the primary reason for their forced departure. As supervisor, what specific actions will you take to ensure that people, or at least help, that people who work in Marin can afford to actually live here?
So one of the things is we just have to build more housing. And I think that the county's Affordable Housing Trust Fund is something that can help leverage other outside funding, in particular for workforce and affordable housing, but it pales in comparison to what is needed. And so the county needs to be a good partner, and that means on processes and approval timelines, et cetera, to not add time to the approval of affordable housing. I think, we do have vouchers, we do have subsidies. We're talking a lot about shallow rent subsidies for rent for seniors, but at the end of the day, without an increase of housing units, these are really hard problems to solve for. And I think where we're seeing that first and foremost is in our school systems that are having declining enrollment. And they require students to have funding, but they also require students to be vibrant and to have diversity in their classrooms and their teachers. And we need to continue to push for that. And then the other thing is we are really working through our economic vitality work to support the business community to be able to have and employ people at livable wages, and to not be only a service economy, but to also really look for high wage paying jobs within the county of Marin in a place where we don't have industry.
Okay, thank you. And then Mark, do you want to unmute and address that question?
We'll be glad to. Before deciding to run for supervisor District 1 in Marin, for the last 2 years, I have been working with local activists who are retired engineers, architects, and builders, including the largest affordable building corporation in California. And we try to develop new approach for creating tiny home villages for low-income people who can't afford to live in Marin. Regarding, just Mary said that we need more housing. My clarification, we need more affordable housing, not just housing. We can't build 180 units just in recent project at 700 early versus 30, 170 versus 30 low-income units. This is not the way how to solve the problem, and we develop the way how to solve it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you can keep your mic on because this question is for you, Mark. We'll start with you. How would you assess Marin's ability to respond to natural disasters such as wildfires and flooding? What more needs to be done to improve the county's emergency preparedness?
Yes, this is well-grounded concerns. Unfortunately, the county itself was not able to deal with emergencies or potential emergencies related to floods. It's really expensive project. We need, of course, consolidation of funds together with federal and state budgets. But we need to do it, not to talk about it. We need to do it. And also have approaches how to deal with it in conjunction with insurance corporations, which now put huge insurance premiums to insure those houses which are in flooding area. Regarding fires, this problem is getting better this last 5 years because of change of legislation which allows preventive fires, bushfires. And this third project, which is practically not addressed at all, is earthquake emergencies and other emergencies. I am prepared to talk about it. To any other questions, it's actually much more time than what I just described.
Thank you. Yes, I know. 90 seconds is not long. I get it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And can you mute yourself? And then we'll go to Mary.
Thank you so much for this question. When I was first sworn in, I had the opportunity to attend the opening of the Office of Emergency Response at Los Gamos, and this is something the county has invested significant dollars in order to centralize dispatch, to make sure all of our emergency responders in our various cities and towns all have a central line of communication, and to make that building resilient to earthquake, fire, and power outages. We've really bolstered our response team. I think that, along with the Marin Wildfire Protection Authority, which thanks to the voters for passing that, has really done a lot on the preventative vegetation management, shaded fuel breaks in Novato and between Terra Linda and Sleepy Hollow. to make us as prepared as we can be. I think that the January flooding really showed us how vulnerable we are as a county to sea level rise and to flooding. And one of the things I want to really push for is to get Caltrans into the conversation so we can think of Central Marin, because when that flooding happened and 101 was shut down, it really shut down our entire county on a Sunday. And we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to address that. As a District 1 supervisor, I'm laser focused on the protection of Santa Venetia and getting funding for that flood wall. And it's a really difficult environment right now. FEMA grants are not available. And so we have to continue to be creative and look for funding for that project.
Thank you. Okay, next question is for you. What are your thoughts? This kind of ties into it, I guess. What are your thoughts on drought preparation? And what role should the Board of Supervisors play in this preparation? So we're going from disaster, now we're going to go for drought.
Too much water to not enough water.
Exactly.
You know, I think in Marin County, we have 2 water boards, and I think we have great representation and good directors on both of those water boards. So I'm not going to try to weigh into how we should move water about the county and how we should tap into the Russian River and Sonoma County. I think we've got there's a lot in flux between the Potter Valley project and the Russian River and Sonoma County. I'm going to leave that to the water boards to address. I think what Marin County supervisors did in the last drought was how do we look to support our agricultural community in the event of drought? How do we truck in water if we need to? What are the systems we can do to help our ag community? And the other thing that we as supervisors can do is always start with conservation and resiliency. What are we doing on county property? What are we encouraging in new development as far as fire safety, water use, landscaping, ordinance, et cetera, about drought tolerance landscaping, and encouraging those kind of things from a planning and project approval standpoint.
Thank you. And Mark, you want to unmute?
Ready?
Okay. Did you want me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
As Mary mentioned, one of the greatest opportunity to decrease water consumption in the county, and it will help our drought problem, is to change of the way of irrigation. And I was consulting one of the precision agriculture company. I'm founding business advisor of Clay Technologies, and I studied dripping irrigation in Israel. As you know, Israel is not a cold country. Drought is absolutely standard situation there. And nevertheless, they are capable with these limited resources to have plenty of vegetables, everything being grown there. So my approach to it is, of course, more economic usage of water by residents and businesses, mostly by residents. And the main source of economy is agriculture. Change irrigation mode. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so for the next question, we'll start with you, Mark. The Marin population is aging. How can the county provide for the needs of older adults?
We discussed this problem with Marin Organizing Committee, and we think that one of the steps is to create the seat support centers, which means that that older people could get being cared of by this center, spend there several hours at the time where their caregiver could have been doing some their own businesses. They can do it 24/7. This is one of the approaches. Second, of course, there is the Commission of Aging, and I highly appreciate what they do. They already did significant efforts into it, and I think that supporting existing organizations of independent living, I visited them several times. This is a very good initiative, very good organizations, and the county needs to support them just financially in the way they could. It should be part of the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you could mute yourself, Mark, and Mary. Yep.
Thank you for the question. I rely a lot on the Commission on Aging to help bring to me and my decision making the issues that the community wants to see and how they want them addressed. We're talking a lot about social isolation and or what are the mechanisms where older adults want to engage. The What About Age exhibit that is running around the county now is really trying to, I think, increase all of our understanding of how age plays into so many of our decisions every day. From a government support standpoint, a couple things come to mind. One is in my role on Marin Transit and the Marin Access Program of providing transportation solutions from a number of different standpoints for older adults to get around the county, to get to medical appointments, to get to social appointments, having SMART free for seniors so that folks can go and visit family and friends and have things to move about the county. I'm hearing a lot of support there. I'm really excited about this project that Homeward Bound and the Dominican Sisters have recently announced to provide over 20 units of housing, in particular for low-income seniors to live in that convent that Homeward Bound is going to convert into housing, because housing insecurity is rising for our older adults. Homeward Bound said 65% of their clients or 25% of their clients are now over 65. So the housing issue is a small one and very difficult to address.
Thank you. Shout out to Homeward Bound. Okay, then Mary, back at you with this. Okay, so supervisors sit on many county and regional commissions and boards. Which areas best fit your strengths and interests?
Well, thanks for the question. We sit on boards that may not fit our strengths and interests, but I am privileged to be the vice chair of SMART, and I really enjoy the transportation sector. I'm also on the vice chair or the chair of Marin Transit and the vice chair of the Transportation Authority of Marin. There's a lot in Marin that's constrained by transportation and single occupancy vehicles, and there's a lot of potential that we can have. I also serve on the Marin Housing Authority Board, and I'm excited about the beginning of the revitalization of Golden Gate Village. And I serve on MCE Clean Energy, and I will say that is a topic that I don't have a ton of experience in, and in my first year on that board has really been a learning curve to understand energy markets and what the role of a board is in a complicated and very dynamic energy market where prices are changing every single hour. So it's a way to stretch and to really lean on staff and other experts, and we have a plethora of resources in our county of folks who are willing to help educate.
Thank you, Mark. If you could answer that same question.
Please repeat your question.
Okay. The question is, supervisors sit on many county and regional commissions and boards. Which areas best fit your strengths and interests for the commissions and the boards?
Housing, A, emergency response, B, I think this is the most important. Transportation is the third, and the child care and early education is the the force. Thank you.
All very relevant, yes. Okay, next question is for you first, Mark. If elected, what steps will you take to improve active engagement with the community and reduce resident frustration when projects such as the interim shelter program at 350 Marydale Road are approved?
The best prescription is openness, and the law guarantees this openness. And I think that even when the project requires some confidentiality, as every business, then the public should know that the city or county proceed with specific project in construction of a, let's say, a complex for aging for 65 units will be located in Rafael. The land deal is negotiating in secret to avoid price boom and make a meeting about this. And if people agree with this, and they will, because our residents are reasonable people, I know details why it was a problem. It was a problem. It should be handled differently. I think that having agreement on the process from our constituents, this is the best way to proceed. Openness with and agreement from constituents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Mary, do you want to unmute yourself? And Mark, can you mute yourself?
Thank you. What I've learned in my first term is that a real need to insist that partners that we're working with on projects have the same standards for communication as I do. And even when we're not leading the project at the County of Marin. And I think with the 350 Marydale project, we worked hand in hand with the city on the project. And I think we could have done much better in that communication early. And the city has made up a lot of ground after the fact to try to increase the community engagement and talk through many of the issues with the community. My strategy for communications is I send out a newsletter every month with over 6,000 subscribers. And I'm, thanks to my staff who helped put that together, we try to make it relevant and digestible. I spend a lot of time trying to take wonky government information and making it understandable and tangible to each of our way of life. Having an open door if people reach out and want to meet or have a conversation. And then also just having pop-up office hours in the community, at the farmers market, so that people can stop by, where they oftentimes say, I've been meaning to write to you. I'm glad to see you here and want to have this conversation and share my thoughts on this. And also just being out and about in the community where people recognize me and oftentimes share what's on their mind. So it's a multifaceted communication approach.
Thank you. Okay, we're getting near the end here. 2 questions left. We'll start with you for this one, Mary. What actions would you propose to improve conditions for small businesses wishing to locate in Marin or to grow their existing business?
Thank you. I think so. Restaurants are one that we have worked on a lot in the last couple years of how do we make the pathway to opening a restaurant clear from the beginning and really set out what each of those steps are. And one of the challenges with restaurants is the county's environmental health does the health part of it. A city building department may talk about the structural build, and then a different fire department may be talking about the fire suppression or ventilation. And so we're putting a lot of effort. We've had 2, if not 3 workshops at the board to really hear from restaurants in particular to say, what do we need to do to make what was a very convoluted, obscure process more clear? From restaurants wanting to to other businesses wanting to expand, one of the biggest things we have to do is create workforce housing. It's hard. We hear from businesses, they may have their founder that lives in Marin, and when there are 2 or 3 employees, they live here, but when they really want to build up, they can't get the workforce that they need because it's too expensive to live here. So I think the best thing we can do for the vibrancy of all of our businesses is to create affordable housing.
Thank you. And Mark, do you want to unmute and take that question?
Yes, I was a small business manager for quarter century here. My company equipped with church bells, over 200 churches. And my offices were in San Rafael first, and then San Anselmo, and then in Novato. So I'm pretty well aware of the problems small businesses experience, and my solution is actually three. I could start with what Mary said. It's housing, affordable housing for small business people working there or even owning there, because small business owners are not rich people en masse. Second, transportation. Improving transportation to and from Marin. And the third, of course, is to ease the burden of requirements businesses experience. Of course, some of them should be in place, but we could minimize necessary simplification, necessary requirements from businesses. Three ways. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's launch into our last question, and we'll start with you, Mark. We've talked a lot about a lot of things on this forum today. What do you see as the biggest challenges for District 1, and how would you address those challenges?
This is, unfortunately, we have several big challenges. Our child care, our housing, our emergency unpreparedness, and if you think about immediate problem, it's of course emergency preparedness. But if you think about long-run preparedness, it's our child. It's our children who are growing, it's who are the future of the country and this county as well. And that's where we need to put as much as we can as a county supervisor towards this solution. I think that's so. Depends on you, right? Do you see the problem immediate, or do you see the problem in generational? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then you want to mute, Mark, and then Mary, you can unmute. You are unmuted. Okay.
So I've talked a little bit about the Santa Venetia flood wall, and that continues to be a challenge, and finding funding for that is a real challenge that I frankly don't have an answer for, but I will continue to advocate at the state and the federal level in order to look for significant dollars on that. The more complicated challenge that's in front of us is, I've talked a lot about our need for affordable housing. And we have a lot of state mandates that are requiring us to build housing and taking away our local decision making and control. And I think that's a really big challenge on finding the balance and finding where we as a county can weigh in to make projects better, to make projects work in our community, and to encourage good development. And one of the things that I've pushed for, and we're now underway, is objectives, design standards, and off-site development impact fees. So what I mean by that is if when a project comes into the community and it does have a significant impact on traffic flow or bus routes or ability to get to and from school, that we're really looking to the developer to help solve those challenges so that the housing can work in our community and be a benefit, and not a box that's just causing constraints. And there's a balance there, because if it costs too much, then we'll discourage housing, and we don't want to do that. But I do think that that is a real challenge in front of us right now.
Okay, well, thank you both. You actually get to take a small break there. That concludes the question portion of our meeting. And before the candidates make their closing statements, I want to share some key election information. So if you could put slide 1 up, please. These are some important dates. Hopefully you're all seeing that. Starting May 4th, ballots are going to be mailed to all of our registered voters. And in this county, they can be returned by US mail, but they have to be postmarked on or before Election Day. And they have to be received on or before June 9th, which is a week later. Or you can drop it off at an official secure ballot drop box, or you can vote at any vote center. So on May 5th, official ballot drop boxes will be available for you to deposit your voting. And for in-person voting, vote centers replace assigned polling places. So voters cannot vote they may vote in person at any vote center in Marin. And a complete list of locations is included in your voter information guide. Voter center hours differ by location. So opening dates range from May 4th up through June 2nd. They're all should be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. So you got some choices about how to proceed. For May 18th, that is the last day to register to vote online. So if you haven't yet registered, you got to get on it. Conditional voter registration will be available from May 19th to June 2nd, but more hassle. And Election Day at the Elections Department in the Civic Center and at all open vote centers. So May 19th through June 2nd, you have that option. June 2nd is Election Day. So your mailed ballot has to be postmarked by that date. Vote centers will be open until 8, and ballots returned using a ballot drop box must be deposited by then. Be sure to sign your ballot if you return it by mail or in a drop box. It's in a big box on the back side of the envelope. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Marin County's Elections Department in person, online, or by phone. And if you could bring up slide 2, here are the important dates in Spanish. Give you a few moments to take a look at that. And then slide 3. So there are many online resources for election information, including the League's website at marinlwv.org. Another helpful League of Women Voters resource is Vote 411, which is an online tool that provides information about what's on your ballot. Candidates are invited to enter their information, and voters can get a personalized list of candidates, including their biographies and their top priorities, as well as information about local ballot measures and more in English and in Espanol. So visit vote411.org. Thank you. And now the candidates will make closing statements of 2 minutes each. We are going to go in reverse order of the opening statements. So we will start with Mary.
Again, thank you for hosting this forum and for folks tuning in to engage on what county supervisors do and the issues before us. It would be my honor to serve another term on the Marin County Board of Supervisors to keep the momentum going so that Marin is a vibrant place for everybody who lives here. And that vibrancy includes older adults that we've talked about tonight. It includes families. How do we address the affordability crisis that's within the county's hands? How do we support childcare and childcare initiatives, including one that will be on the ballot this year? How do we support transitional age youth who may be aging out of foster care and some of the housing units that we've brought online in order to give those young people a place to live until they can get their feet on the ground? How do we support our families with children with disabilities? And I'm really excited by the work that is kicked off to create an inclusive playground at McGinnis Park, a place that's a playground with inclusive structures and activities. And we've got a great community collaborative coming together, including young people from many of our schools who are saying this is what we'd love to see in a park, a swing that we can get on, a slide that we can go down. And I'm really focused on mental health and substance abuse and how do we support people onto the path of recovery, get them into jobs, and get them into stable housing. And some of those folks are going to need permanent supportive housing. And I'm really excited with projects like Casa Canal that provides that permanent supportive housing for folks and to get them off of the streets and in with a roof over their head. So it would be my honor to serve another term on the Board of Supervisors, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mary. And then, Mark, you want to unmute and give us your thoughts on that.
I think that with current funding, with current budget, our county cannot succeed. It requires significant changes. I do not see these changes happen at the term of the current Board of Supervisors. I want to bring these changes in. I have a plan for these changes. I want to implement that. I do not seek for voters' donors. I do not have a committee, although many people suggested with donations. I said no. I need your votes. I do not need your money. And we will make money together by using existing county resources without spending them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to both of you both today for participating in this event tonight, and to the League Forum team, and to Canal Alliance, Marin Center for Independent Living, and the Marin Women's Commission for partnering with us on this forum. A special thanks to our Spanish interpreter and to our friends at Community Media Center of Marin for their technical support. And a big thank you to members of the community who submitted questions for the candidates. A video of tonight's forum will be posted on the League's website in the next few days. Thank you again for joining us this evening, and most importantly, thank you for voting.
Thank you all. Thank you very much for organizing this meeting, and I wish everybody be well.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the candidates for participating this evening and the League of Women Voters for facilitating this event. We appreciate your time and interest in hearing from, excuse me, and getting to know the candidates who are running to represent District 1 on the Marin County Board of Supervisors. Please make your voice heard and be sure to vote, and be sure to vote before June 2nd. Thank you and good night.